Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com, where we'll share any links that things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout. Welcome back for part 2 of today. This is episode 12, boys. 12.
Sliding into home.
12. This means we spent 12 hours in a room with Colt's just general demeanor.
Which is the next governor of California.
It's a first-year law associate workday.
Yeah, exactly. 12 hours on one day. We spent that, which is great. But welcome back. We are in the middle of discussing, if you're thinking about starting a business, you have started a business, some things from personal experience. I think that success leaves clues. I think failure leaves bigger clues. Mm-hmm. And we were kind of talking before the break about saying we were going to break down each step kind of opening a business and where the pitfalls of that can be. So we'll start about ideas. Let's talk about the idea for what it is.
Right.
Now, you asked something while we were off air. You said, what do I think is the best idea to financial freedom? Is it franchises, those things, right? What was the question?
Yeah, because I was wondering, you think about who you know, who are the wealthiest people you know, what do they do, right? Some people say doctors, lawyers, but it's like the people that I know that are really worth a lot of money to start talking about. It's 8-9 figures, big money. They own a big company.
Yes.
They own some kind of company.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's got multiple people under them because that's the only way you can leverage yourself is have people under you doing it. But in what way? Is it the guy that owns 10 McDonald's? Is it the lady that owns,
Well, let's talk about that, because one of the really successful guys that I know that I've invested money with is a guy named Aaron Wagner, who owns a company called Wags Capital. They have restaurants, and it's what they do. They are experts at QSR restaurants. Their portfolio includes like Crumble Cookies, which everybody in Vegas knows what that is. Yep. Everbowl, which I'm invested there. They just launched a new hot chicken sandwich place. They've got
they got a couple other
good things that are coming through, right?
All like real cool,
right? But they have got it down so much to a science that they go through and they just understand the cost of goods sold. They understand how to move the needle with things, and by reducing costs here, it's just like turning dials for them. Because QSR restaurants are much simpler. QSR stands for quick service restaurant versus one where you go in and sit and Peggy the begrudging waiter comes over and helps you out.
Chili's?
Yeah, like Chili's. Talking to you, Chili's. No, when that happens, comes over and just does that. But the QSR restaurant model is very successful. So Aaron has a mixture of what he does, which is they've done some ground up concepts where they've said, this is where we're going to start with this, and we'll just ground them up. Or then B, he'll go and find something that's humming, right, and doing very, very well, and then come in and say, hey, look, we want to partner with you to grow this business. Because in some cases, the restaurateur that started it isn't capitalized. They don't have a bunch of capital to make that expansion, and they don't have the network, and they don't have the infrastructure to make it go either. And that's what these guys have gotten very good at doing. To talk about that, we had a new restaurant yesterday, and I'm going to give them a shout out again today on the podcast. So there's a new restaurant that I went to yesterday up on Henderson on Horizon Ridge. I'm sorry, Horizon Ridge and Eastern, not Henderson. Eastern and Horizon Ridge, called Amidan. And me, before I moved to Vegas, I lived in Tampa. I love Cuban food. I love it. I absolutely love good Cuban sandwich is the biz. And unfortunately, most of the restaurants since Florida, there was one downtown that was amazing, but ever since that thing kind of closed up, Cuban's been really hit or miss in Vegas. Super hit or miss.
One on Fremont?
No. It was on Las Vegas Boulevard, right by like where Soho is.
They closed. Owned the one you're not too happy with.
Oh, they did? Yeah. Well, the one downtown was great. And then the other
better.
one, the other one I've just they're on the blacklist. So I've just kind of written them off for bad service.
And I think that's something you said, like they'll go in and help. You might be an amazing chef and create a business, but you might not know how to create a business model franchise and that's when you need to reach out to help.
Well, this Amidan deal, it's a quick service Cuban restaurant. You go to the counter, you order your food, you sit down, then the person brings it out and sets it down. And we were there for maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Yep.
And the dude that owns the joint comes over to the table. And no, this is not a flex, but he just says, "Excuse me, are you John Gafford?" Because, in my local little villa of Hendo, I'm kind of a big deal. I don't know, whatever.
He's probably seen the power move.
He's probably seen
the power move. Probably yes. Anyway, he says, "No, thank you so much for coming in. Nice to meet you. I'm going to send you some special stuff over." We're like, "Okay, great," and it was amazing. And, you know, he made that nice little touch, and it wasn't just us. I mean, I felt special for a second, but this dude was like working I mean, they were really doing a good job, and the food was exceptional. Yeah, food was great. I came back and I saw that he was following me on Instagram, which is how he knew who I was. And I shot him a message. I said, hey, everything was, you know, he shot me a message saying, did you think everything was really good? And I said, everything was great, man. I said, you know, being from Florida. And this brings me to the next point. Rather than reinvent the wheel, I'm thinking to myself, I'm just going to get with Aaron Wagner and try to duplicate what he does with his deal, because I have a lot of experience back in the day with the restaurants as well. And I was like, maybe I can do the same thing with him. So I just sent the guy a message back saying, hey, look, I'm very well capitalized. I have a lot of great connections. If you ever want to make this thing really boom and go big, let me know. And I'm going to a mastermind group this weekend where I'm going to have a conversation with Wags about this place, because I thought it was good. It's unique. It's different from everything else. I mean,
it's not another hamburger joint.
No, it's not another hamburger joint, which is great. And I think that brings us to what you were saying. So if you're going to start a business, don't reinvent the wheel. I mean, and here's the thing you got to do. If you are going to reinvent the wheel, if you're like, I had this great $1 million idea, I'm telling you right now, the best thing absolutely that has happened to entrepreneurs and people that want to own their own business in the last 20 years.
The internet.
Well, the internet, but specifically on the internet, the best thing that has happened is Kickstarter platforms. Yep. And here's why. Well, no. See, you're wrong. It's not even about the funding. It has nothing to do with the funding.
I know where
it has to do with, do you have a product that people actually want to buy? In my office right now, I've got a little jar of vitamins. I keep it in there. It's a blue bottle, and it says Azura Specialty Nutrition Vitamins. It's a blue bottle. It is now 21 years old. No, I'm not going to open it and eat it, even though it'd probably still be better than Flintstone vitamins.
Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly. Crystal Pepsi, exactly, for the same time. And that represents a time when my sister asked me if we wanted to open. At the time, she was a big multi-level marketing person. She was the head of a very high person in Amway, ran their whole business for them. She was the business manager for them. Some very important people in Amway. And she's like, I want to start my own multi-level marketing company. We're going to split away. We're going to do nutritional supplements. I know, how original, right? Mm-hmm. Even 20 years ago wasn't that original. And we went all in on it, right? We had marketing partners. We had a friend of mine that was a former Florida Gator football player. Supposedly had Emmitt Smith on board. There was a lot of moving parts to why we wanted to do this. But what do we do? When you're going to launch a product, what's the first thing you do? You go out and you order all the product, right?
So order it all.
Oh, yeah. So
spend all your capital.
So we ordered all the product. We ordered all the vitamins. We ordered all the whey protein. We ordered all the fat burners. We ordered all the creatine. We ordered all the penis pills. We ordered all of it. And private label.
That's what I was assuming when you said the blue bottle, John.
Yeah, exactly. And we put it in a warehouse. We stuck it in a warehouse because we were going to need it on hand when we jumped off the planet and blew up. Turns out nobody really wanted it. And it sat and died in a warehouse. Now, granted, we had a lot of other moving parts that made that business not work, but I told myself I would never again build a product that I didn't know people were going to work, that people were going to do, because it was a major loss, and we liquidated stuff.
Sometimes I think in life, though, you do have to field the dreams a little bit. If you build it, they will come. Like, I think there are just some things that you're talking about, a market that's so saturated, you have to figure out what your edge is. But there are some things.
What's your moat? What's the moat?
What's the moat? Yeah, what's your moat? None.
What is the weirdest thing you've seen make money?
I mean, you can go really hacky and say pet rocks, but it's just like,
right. No, personally, like you personally have like met somebody that made money. It was a weird way, because I know we all meet interesting people, business owners, money people.
What's the weirdest way I've seen somebody that makes money?
Other than OnlyFans.
I mean, OnlyFans is definitely up there. I would say. I mean, recently it's the crypto mining. Is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, I mean, people were doing fidget spinners. You think of those fads, just whatever is a fad.
There's
a transgender lady that makes sex toys that kills it in this town.
Those sex toys companies, they make a fortune.
Just like I'm saying.
I met the guy that made the rubber bands that were shaped like animals. He just took rubber bands and shaped them. People put them on, and I met him, and he was buying like a $3 million house because of that.
I think anything you can buy from China and mark up 8,000% and then sell on the street corner is gonna make you a pretty good solid space. One of the guys I was on The Apprentice with made a bunch of money over the years selling glow sticks on the Jersey Pier. Who knows?
That's what I'm saying.
Dumb stuff.
When you think about who do you know that's kind of popped the most, what kind of leverage model do they have? How many people did they have underneath them? Did they have a commission sales setup? Like, how do you get to that level from one to the next? Because so my business is weird. I can only leverage myself with the type of cases I take, or I can hire a bunch of attorneys and, generate hourly work. I only have two paths to go. And that's, I think, true with everybody, right?
I think you got a third path that you just got to find something. Yeah.
Wow.
Doing
that's under a different LLC.
Legal advice naked on OnlyFans.
Different LLC.
I think that then you create something that maybe attorneys use, right? You see a lack of something maybe in your database or whatever, and then you go do that, right?
Look for solves. If you want to make money, just solve problems. Yep. But I think if you have a product, you have an idea, or you have something like that, proof the concept first. Make sure it's proved. If you don't have an idea, if you have no idea but you want to go into business for yourself, look for something that's proven, and
have somebody around you that's smarter or understands what they're doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times these people, they want to play. They want to helm the ship. They want to be the cook crew. They want. You got to. So one of my clients, this company in town called Foodie Fit. They are just spectacular. They do such a great job with their concept.
I ate their food this morning.
They are lovely guys, unbelievably great people to work with. But
the barbacoa is spectacular.
Oh, it's great.
Spectacular. Spectacular on the barbacoa.
Their product really stands by itself. But in order to get that product out to people, first off, and it's actually economical. It makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So the guy who started it is a chef. He just wants to cook. He doesn't want to be a marketing guy. He's not a marketing guy. He's not a finance guy. So he brings on a couple people that knew him, and they both have their specialties, and they kill it.
Yeah.
Because he knew where his weaknesses were. These two gentlemen knew what their strengths were and what his weaknesses were, and they formed like Voltron to have this wonderful, great business. And
did you just bust out a Voltron reference?
Solid.
We needed some good references.
Voltron.
What would Voltron be with just like one green cat or whatever?
Yeah, they would make it.
Like you got to have everything working together, and you got to know where your weaknesses are. Don't give away all your fucking equity to the first person that asks you on a date.
Yeah. Either. Well, and I can tell you this too, as somebody I get pitched a lot of equity deals from people that are looking for capital, and when they come in and they're like, there's a fine line that you got to look through there. I mean, you watch enough Shark Tank, you see this. It's like it's got to be worth your while to mentor somebody and invest your capital. Right. I got offered a weed deal the other day, and they made me sign an NDA, and I was like, "Oh, this is going to be some new tech."
In the Caesars parking lot.
No.
Yeah, he signed an NDA. It was in the Caesars parking lot. Now he's about to spill the beans on it.
No. Because that's the thing. That's the thing. There's nothing.
The deal was with the feds. Yeah.
No, there's nothing. Still, John DeLorean shows up, and then there's a briefcase. Yeah. No. But you sign this NDA, and if I sign an NDA, I'm expecting something
cool.
This is cool, right?
Something unique.
And you know what they were going to do? Check this out. This is what they were going to do. They were going to start a grow facility, grow marijuana, and then sell it to dispensaries. And I was like, dude, I've seen this 1,000 times.
I can't believe you just violated that NDA.
I know.
I'm not a part of this.
E equals MC something.
Yeah, something. No. And the thing about it was I'm looking at this. I look at this plan, and they wanted a fairly large investment, and they wanted it was a preferred investment for the first 3 years, where they were a decent return on it, but you didn't actually get the return. But then what it was they would compound it over 3 years and then use that to convert to equity. But the equity be a future value of the company. Yeah, so I was kind of looking at this. I'm like, you want me to fund the whole bill for your company, and then you want me to get a diluted position in 2 years and not make anything on my money it made no sense to me.
Yeah, those ships have sailed too.
Yeah, it made no sense.
The marijuana thing is not what it was.
Probably solar marijuana.
Yeah, but the point being is if you're going to go get somebody that really knows what they're doing in the space that you're trying to do business in, you need to offer them enough of a chunk that it makes sense for them to want to mess with it.
Right, but here's the other thing you have to always be careful of, young people doing business. I had a gentleman approach me the other day, and he said, "Hey, can you read this operating agreement? This guy wants to give me all this stuff. It's worth X amount of money." And so I take a look at it, and I go, "I'm sorry, he's giving you what?" Like, "Oh, well, he's going to buy me a new truck. He's going to do this. It's like 80 grand for 30% of my company." I'm like, "Well, on one hand, your company's not worth shit.
No, it's worth zero. It's worth zero today.
But you are doing this thing, and it is a really cool concept. And I think if you get with kind of like those other guys that guy got with, it's really worth something. And you are performing, and it is actually a thing, and it's making money. So you're not just, it's not an idea. It's actually something that's happening.
Yeah, tangible.
But this guy clearly didn't have the kind of experience for these things because he goes, oh yeah, he's giving me a truck. I go, well, what? Well, he signed you over title to a paid off truck? He's like, no. The company will have to pay for the lease.
Oh my God!
Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, you just went from giving you a truck to just he's
So
basically gonna
you're paying your
his name's on the lease.
That's it.
For 30% of your company. What is he putting in? What?
Zero.
Because here's the thing. Let's say your company is actually worth a shit.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say it is. And I'm not saying that you should live under that sort of embarrassed millionaire thing. Like, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Thing that a lot of people falsely do.
Yeah.
But to think, okay, planning for the future, what is the equity of my company worth? What is it worth? What I believe in this company, I want to be a $10 million business. Okay, so 30% is $3 million.
Well, I think you also got to appreciate the fact that when you're looking for investors like that or your guy, you ask yourself a question: is this a strategic partner or is this dumb money? Right. And dumb money, not meaning the person is dumb, but meaning they don't bring any knowledge or any connections or any skill set. They're just money. They're just money. They don't bring anything to the table other than money. Right. And you need to be like, that's a loan.
That's a loan. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's exactly.
That's not business partner.
And he goes, oh, well, and I'm like, look, save up the money it takes to rent a new truck or something. Don't give away the farm on somebody that's not going to, like you said, great point, strategic partner.
Yeah.
So this guy with the Foodie Fit got two other guys that were strategic partners in different ways, and it's obviously worked out very well.
Yeah.
And they all worked together. Let's say a national wanted to buy them out, or let's say they wanted to expand and needed to raise money or needed to raise equity. Well, then they can all kind of equally dilute and work that out later, right?
Right.
But if you've given away 30% of your farm for a loan, that's now you got 20% left before you're a minority shareholder.
And I think,
or an interest LLC holder.
I think a big thing is people don't have stuff in writing. I mean, me and you talked about that before, but I've seen that. I see that all the time. Our partners, I go, you might be best friends right now, but give that 5 years of a rough up and down.
Well, that's what I always tell people. The number one rule in real estate: everybody's cool until they're not.
Until they're not.
Yep.
Until they're not. Everybody's super cool until they're not.
I lost a lot of money last week because everybody was super cool.
Everybody's cool until they're not. But I think that's important too. If you're going to bring on a partner, if you're thinking about having a partnership with somebody, it is more important in the document that you draft between you and your partner what happens when things go wrong than it is when things go right. I think if you're going to have a partner, you need to have a very clear expectation spelled out of what both of you are bringing to the table.
Right.
That is everybody can see this is what I need to bring to the table. This is what the expectation is of me. Yep. So there's no like, well, I thought you were going to do all that. No, I thought you were going to do all that.
Right.
And then if it doesn't work out, if there's any assets of the company, who do they go to?
Yes.
If it's a buy-sell agreement, for those of you who've never heard of that, but essentially what it is one of you makes the offer to buy the other one out. The other one can either buy you out for the same amount or accept the money, and then they keep the whole business. Or if there's a division of assets and intellectual property right down the middle, but figure out when you get into business, what's going to happen there.
Oh yeah.
People think like a prenup is the most unromantic thing on earth. And it's like, well, no. Prenup's not there assuming the marriage is going to fail.
Yeah.
That's not what it's for.
Yeah.
Right? It's there if it fails. Now, why things fail, who knows? Are you the same guy you were 10 years ago?
No.
Not even remotely, because that's why I don't have any tattoos. Like, yeah, I like the band Tool, but I don't necessarily need it on my arm because I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to be next.
He's got the barbed wire. He's got the barbed
wire. We were just talking earlier about some guy got some girl's name tattooed on her face and she dumped him the next day.
I mean, it's crazy to me that these people don't understand that things change. Here's the thing. You don't always plan on things happening in business that have to do with you and I. Let's say, let's take our spouses out of it. Let's say I'm married to a crazy person and John's married to a crazy person and she goes to divorce John, and now my interest in my business is handicapped because John and I didn't have the foresight to understand that spouses had to have, disclaimers or quit claims against property interests or whatever of the business, or that they didn't have an interest in the event of divorce. There's ways to build these things into your company where you go, hey, I'm getting into bed with you, not your wife, not your...
So if you're going to have a serious partnership with money involved, Zip legal forms or whatever it is probably not the place to go. Call a real attorney to have this stuff drafted.
Call a trust attorney. Call a real corporate attorney because they're going to understand that you don't even know what you're not protected against if you don't know what you're not.
Right. Yeah.
It's not always you. It could be
What's funny is right now I'm moving everything over to some wealth management guys in New York, and we were on the phone yesterday for about an hour and a half, and they were asking me questions about assets and trust and things where money is and this and that and how to segregate.
Who gets the pogs? Who gets
but their biggest concern was how do we carve this out? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, like, for example, we're going to go through and run a doomsday scenario on every asset you have. And I'm like, what does that mean? He goes, well, like, for example, the building in Nashville you guys are building, if that was to collapse and kill everybody in it, how are you insulated from that? And I'm like, oh God, like I'm just thinking this is an investment. It gets built. It's going to cash flow. Life is good. Now you're talking about the building falling down and crushing people. Yeah. Stuff you don't think of.
No. How are you isolated in that you're not going to own any of your assets? It's going to be held in trust. But who's going to go? Let's say it goes to a trust, but do you want things in life estates for your spouse to go to your kids directly, or because you're 50% owned by your wife? Those are really complex things.
Yeah.
Talk to an estate planning
real attorney to get those done.
It's not that expensive either. If you have enough assets that you're worried about, it's not a set aside probate issue or something like that. If you have real assets, then get that done immediately. Not today.
I need to talk to you, Chris, about my one share of win.
It's one share of win, one share don't care.
How do I?
He bought literally one share when
it crashed today with China.
Gosh, all these sands we got killed on today.
I woke up today thinking, yesterday was bad. And
today goes worse. Sands gets worse. I'm going to be buried at Sands because I own so much of that stock.
That's how I feel with win.
I'm never going to be able to sell it.
Unfortunately, I bought more than just one share. But
oh God, you know what? We got to talk about that.
Taxes too.
Let's save that for the last 5 minutes, but I want to talk about this. So we talked about if you're going to build a business, and want to prove the concept, if it's your own idea. If it's not your own idea, find someone to mentor under or just mimic what they did. For example, Dave Thomas of Wendy's, who was his mentor, do you know?
Ray Kroc.
No, not true. Close, but not Ray Kroc.
The Colonel Sanders?
The Colonel. He worked for the Colonel. That's how he learned. So he went to learn the fast food business by working directly for the Colonel, went off and did his. There is nobility in working for someone else if you are learning what they do to take it. It happens every single. The reason people want to come work for me on my team is because they know I'll teach them everything that I know. And then they can go off and do their own thing. I just want to do it at the company. It doesn't matter. I don't mind training my future competitors. Right. It doesn't bother me. But yeah, do that. If you have your own idea, proof the concept. If it's something that you're going to go out that is different from everybody else, ask yourself the question, is there a moat around this product?
Right.
Is there something that's different from everything else? If your product is very similar to 25 million other products on the market, it ain't special just because you thought it up.
Right.
There's nothing special
and
about it.
When it goes to real estate, when you see something that's for lease for $2,000 a month, figure it's going to be $5,000 by the time insurance, by the time that's you need to break down what your actual cost and overhead is going to be.
Again, back to what you said, have a plan. Spend the time to build a real business plan and understand if you're going to open a restaurant, you need to price out everything that's going to be on the line. You need to price out what it costs to have a hood installed. You need to price what it costs to have a grease trap installed if the restaurant doesn't have one. Right. You need to understand how that works. Plan for your target customer. Figure out who your target customer is. Open your business where it is. Why are we sitting where we're sitting right this second? Why are we in this office? We're here because the most expensive real estate on this side of town, I can hit a 7-iron and hit it. When we opened here 10 years ago, this center was like empty because it depended on in and out retail, right? Depended on shops and store owners. We didn't care. We just wanted to be based close to the expensive homes. Now, luckily, 10, 11 years later, the shopping center is full. But again, understanding where your clients are and being where they are.
Right.
Yep. Knowing your demographics.
Is important.
Find out where people are going to be buying real estate and go get there first.
Find out where it is first.
Yeah, no, to your point, something I just throw in is there's a reason I'm sitting in this chair sometimes. If you can start your own LLC. People don't understand how easy this process is. Mm-hmm. It's so easy that sometimes when I'm doing them for myself, I'll just call my guy and he'll just do it for me.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm the attorney. I'm getting somebody who's not an attorney to start an LLC for me.
Yeah.
It is not a difficult process, but people think that somehow that protects you. First off, an LLC isn't a business license. You have to get that separately.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to operate in Clark County, Las Vegas, that's a different business license.
And probably whatever city you're in.
So. Whatever city you're in, there's different business license. You get a state business license with your LLC in Nevada. Mm-hmm. It's a state business license, but it's not in the county or place that you're operating. Different ones, check out, ask an attorney. The other thing is, if you're not willing to sit down and figure out how to start an LLC, are you really ready to start your own business?
No.
There's going to be things that come up. But if you can't sit down and figure this one thing out, I don't know. Are you really willing to kind of handle some of the curveballs you're going to be getting?
Yeah.
I think that's a kind of a low bar.
And I think what Colt said earlier was understand what it takes to be capitalized. And for example, when we run our business here, we do for all of our businesses. This is how I just handle distributions. It's how we've always done it. It's always worked. It's what we do. We have a baseline for what it would cost to basically run this business for 6 months without taking a dollar. Without making $1 into the business, what it would cost for 6 months. That's the baseline that we keep in the account. On the same day of every month, we draw out everything that's over those on all of our businesses. So we always done it. But I don't have to worry about dips. I don't have to worry about, even when COVID hit, it didn't really affect me because I did that. So many businesses are undercapitalized and open on a shoestring. And I think part of that is also if you're looking to do a franchise, that's when it can be dangerous. Yeah. If you're looking to get into that franchise business, because some franchise companies, here's a little secret, kids. They're not really interested in you succeeding or not. They just want to get their franchise fee.
Well, yeah. I mean, they obviously want to get you paid so that they have a worthwhile thing, but they have no blood, sweat, and tears in your location.
No. It's your money as long as they get their French fries. French fries? Did I say French fries? Franchise fees.
We'll give you the French fries.
It's been a long day and it's only going to get later. It really is. I'm not going to lie.
That's funny you said that because I was just with a huge retail broker. He handles the majority of the Vegas market. And I go, well, what was here? He's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to say the business. But I go, well, we just looked at that across the town. He goes, oh, yeah, their business model is they just want all your money up front. And if you succeed, great. If you're out in a year, it doesn't matter, right? They have no risk. And that's it, right? Like the franchise thing, COVID showed you how underfunded people were.
Yeah.
People calling you 2 weeks into shutdown freaking out. You should not, as a business owner, you should, right? But not freaking out like some of these guys that.
So why do you think they closed?
What's that?
Why don't you think a lot of these businesses closed?
Why did they close?
Why didn't they close?
What, during COVID or when?
I don't see a lot of businesses closed right now.
Oh, there was a lot.
Oh, there was a bunch,
But what services?
The problem you just didn't see it is because the competitors picked it up to take their capitalization.
I think some of the other people stepped in.
People just got scooped up, but there really wasn't a total shakeout. We don't see a bunch of tumbleweeds or
no. I think the paycheck assistance program helped a lot of businesses keep their doors open and stay through COVID.
Because I was going to say there were some tools to use for business
SBA
owners.
loans, and a lot of that stuff got them through. But I do want to talk about real quick before we're done, because we're almost out of time. Man, the hour just flies by like nothing.
Talking about
but there's a major change coming. If you own any type of assets, you know anybody that owns any type of assets, you need to listen to this because capital gains going up.
When do they vote on it?
I don't know when the vote is on it, but I believe there's a bill before the Ways and Means Committee, and it's proposed to put it from 20% to 25%. Now, 5% increase in capital gains is quite significant.
Yeah, it's monster.
It's a monster. That's $50,000 on $1 million. So you're talking about real money, and an asset to be $1 million in capital gains is not crazy.
No, it's not.
No. Now, this applies to literally everything that's a long-term capital gain.
Yeah.
Right? Yep. So if this gets passed, and there's also a few life estate exemptions that are coming through the pipeline too, but if you have assets that are ripe for long-term capital gains, you've held them for more than a year, and it's going through that process, you can 1031 them, right? You can always do that process.
Yeah.
But if you're going to take, if you're planning on cashing out for whatever reason,
do it now.
Do it now.
Do it right now. So if you have a commercial building, call Colt. Yep. You have residential buildings, call any of the agents here, or residential properties, any of the agents here at Simply Vegas can help you with that. But yeah, it's time to start thinking about maybe a quick liquidation before some of the stuff goes
1031 is that's such a great tool that everybody thinks it's only for the hedge funds. It's only for big money. It's like, no, you got guys that they're secondary, your little investment home, make $200,000.
Sure.
5%'s a lot.
It's a lot of money on, especially when you're talking about real estate, right? Because those are the things with the potential to get you there. Yep. A lot of times income on, your regular income and these things, they're not going to hit you in that way. But if you have an asset that your grandfather left you, right? And whether how your tax basis was stepped up or whatever, you have to understand a lot of times those are going to be categorized as long-term capital gains. And this is the time when if it goes up to 25%, it's starting to greatly deviate from being that tax advantageous as like dividends or capital gains have always been historically against income tax.
Yeah. So if you're sitting at home waiting, wondering to yourself, man, how are they going to pay for this giant infrastructure bill? Yeah, here comes the check. It's going to be due. So if you if you have assets, liquidate them, move them into a
talk to a tax attorney.
Talk to a tax attorney.
This is not legal advice.
Counsel.
This is legal
it's
information.
Not legal advice. Legal information.
Could not have this
we're not giving legal advice here. Nothing.
We're providing it's
entertainment purposes only. But as far as what I'm saying, make sure you talk to your tax attorney about whether it's right for you. Because whether these things do affect you, if there's a possibility this is going to affect you, in a large way. So talk to a tax attorney. Make sure it's within your estate plan too, because you don't want to trigger other issues. But talk to a professional.
No, for sure. And again, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure that you like and subscribe. If you're listening to us on a podcast through Spotify, Apple, or any of the big ones, make sure that you subscribe to that as well so you get it. And if you haven't seen us on YouTube, check it out because I'm just curious what you think of Colt's new hairdo.
Beautiful.
So check it out. Comment down in the comments. Let us know what you think of Colt's do.
Or the
mean and clean. You know what? You know what you can do? You know what you can add now? Swimmer. To the Olympic thing. You're getting the hairdo. You're getting the hairdo.
It looks more like a diver.
Diver.
Do you ever realize that divers are in amazing shape and there's no need to be in amazing shape for diving?
They just swim all day, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, but they're not. Divers don't swim all day.
They got to swim to the edge of the pool and they climb the stairs. Then they're on the stair climber. Then they got to climb those stairs. How's that?
They are in ridiculous
There's no
shape.
elevator on the diving platform.
But there's no need to be that way. They could go up with a dad bod and do the same job.
You couldn't make it up the stairs in the diving
next, we're going to have to
platform.
give a lesson on aerodynamics too.
Join us next time as we give Colt a lesson on aerodynamics and we figure out what Olympic sport.
Connell, LV, Connell.com.
That's it.
Connell.com.
If they want to find you, how do they find you? Colt.
AmidanGroup.com, Colt_Amidan, Instagram.
And of course, you can always follow me on Instagram at John Gafford. And if you like what we do here, again, tell a friend because we don't appreciate that. But if you hate us, tell two because what happens, Connell? What do we like?
Like being talked about.
We like being talked about. Don't matter if it's good or bad. See you next time, guys.
Cheers.
Hey, it's John Gafford. If you want to catch up more and see what we're doing, you can always go to thejohngafford.com where we'll share any links things we talked about on the show, as well as links to the YouTube where you can watch us live. And if you want to catch up with me on Instagram, you can always follow me at thejohngafford. I'm here. Give me a shout.